Hello and welcome to the 2-minute series. The topic for today is the FRBM Act. Now, this basically, first and foremost, you should know that this stands for the Fiscal Responsibility and the Budget Management Act. This act was what was passed in the year 2003. Another thing that is important here is the aim of this particular act. Now, this act aims at financial discipline. It aims at improving the macroeconomic management by the government. It also aims at fiscal prudence in the budgeting of the government. Questions on this act have what have been asked in the past, and I am expecting some questions in future also. So the basic principles of this act is something that you should know. These aims are what are translated into basically two targets. The first target is with respect to the fiscal deficit. By now we know what fiscal deficit is. So here the act says that the fiscal deficit is what the government should try to keep within a range of 0 to 3% of the GDP. This clearly means that the government is acknowledging that not all borrowing is what is bad, because fiscal deficit is basically a measure of the borrowing. So some borrowing, if it is going into the creation of capital, then that borrowing is what is considered as acceptable or good borrowing. So the government is allowing for 3% of fiscal deficit. But revenue deficit in under no circumstances is good, is a type of a good deficit. So the government here is saying, as per this act, that revenue deficit is what should always be 0%, because as we had discussed previously, revenue deficit represents that the government is unable to pay or generate income enough to sustain its own functioning also. At present, India has fiscal deficit which is breaching the limit of 3%. Also, India does have a considerable amount of revenue deficit also. So the targets of this particular act have not yet been met. So that's all about the FRBM Act. I thank you all for watching the video.